Hello guys, welcome to another episode on our channel. Today we're going to be talking about how to write a successful Canada Visa SOP that will get you approved. We've been getting a lot of questions about it, so I want to throw a bit more light. We would also review a sample visa SOP that got approved, right, for a student this year, and we would also talk about what you should do or what you can do when you get a refusal. Then I'll also give you some tips on how to avoid refusal. So I have a lot for you here today, so stick with me, guys. Canada Visa SOP is that document you use to introduce yourself to the IRCC, right? You want to tell them who you are, what you're about, what you want to go and do in their country, right? So that is what a Canada Visa SOP is. In most cases, yes, it is important to write a Canada Visa SOP. The reason is because typically for Canada, you don't get called for an interview like you be called for, say, if you were applying to the UK or the US. So usually the SOP serves as your form of introduction to the embassy, telling them what you want to go and do in the country and why you should be granted why your visa should be approved. The first tip I'm going to share today with you regarding Canada Visa SOP is number one, Canada Visa SOP is a formal letter. So whatever you do, you want to ensure that you maintain the formality of the letter. Number two, there are certain outlines that you need to cover in your SOP, ranging from who you are, why you want to go and study in the country, your background, your financial details and how you can fund yourself, your home ties, right? All these things, they need to appear in your statement. For no reason should you miss out on any part. Number three tip is that if you're using a sponsor, ensure that your sponsor gives you a sponsorship letter to attest that they will be sponsoring you throughout your study or for any part of the study that they are going to be sponsoring you, right? The fourth tip I have for you when writing your Canada Visa SOP is to ensure that you have relevant documents to back up the things you're saying in the statement. So for instance, if you're talking about finances, ensure you have your bank statement and proof of funds to back up whatever you have written in the finance section of your SOP. If you're talking about home ties and you mentioned that you have properties, ensure that you attach copies of these properties or proofs to show that you have these properties when applying for your visa, right? Another thing is to ensure that you cover the necessary areas in your SOP. Another tip I have for you is that Canada Visa SOP, it is not mandatory that it should be 3,000 words or 2,000 words. The most important thing when writing this SOP is that you cover the important things, the main things that the officer who will review your statement will be looking at, or the officer who will review your application will be looking at for. And one of those things is who are you? Are you a credible person? You want to show your credibility. If you've had previous education, you have to reflect it. If you've had previous work, you have to reflect it. You have to show that your admission is from a legit school, right? And all those things. Even though they will do their checks, but you need to show beyond reasonable doubt that you are credible. Then you need to also show that you have the finances to fund yourself, and then you need to show that you have ties in your country to bring you back home. Typically, I would say there's no statistics about it, but from what we have done working with clients, we know that more than 50% of the people who get refused or get denied their visa for their study visa for Canada is usually because either for home ties or because of finances. So here's what you should do to avoid rejection based on these two reasons. Number one, home. So let's deal with finances. If you're using a sponsor, for instance, ensure that your sponsor sends you or provides a sponsorship letter. So in that sponsorship letter, they will state who they are, how they are related to you, and that they will be funding you. Then that your sponsor should also provide a proof of identification. For instance, if the person is employed, let him give you a copy of his employment letter to present so that they will know that okay, this person is actually really employed and can afford this money, right? In case anything goes wrong. Also, if the person has um, any ties with you, uncle, or that it should be stated in your sponsorship letter that they are your uncle. If it's your husband, it should be stated that he or she is, if it's your partner. So, in your finances, ensure you show proof. Then the account you're going to be showing, ensure you show proof of the last 6 months. You get at least the last 6 months. Then there should be, try not to use or make any lump sum transaction with such account. So sometimes you present an account statement and in the last 3 months there was a huge sum of money that entered the account. It becomes it's going to create questions in the heart of whoever is reviewing your, maybe whoever is reviewing your statement. Maybe they would think you borrowed the money or something. So always avoid lump sum as much as possible, right? So one other thing you need to take note of for finances, in order not to get rejected on the basis of finances, is that you should have a good track record of your finances, right? Ensure that the account you're using, there is a track record. It's not the account that just anyhow transactions occur in it, right? Okay, then for home ties, if you don't have home ties, let's say you're young, or let's say whatever, for whatever reason, if you have a partner, let's say a husband, a wife who has those assets, you could use them, and they could also write a letter of attestation to show that they know you, they are your partners. If it's your parents, let them provide such a letter. This is my child. You get I know them and all that. So if it's you and you're saying you have these are the ties, you're employed in your country, ensure you get employment letters from your employers. If you also claim that you're getting a study leave from your workplace, ensure that the employer provides a letter of attestation to show that, oh, we know this our staff is going to further the education. We're fully aware and we're waiting for the person when they come back from their studies. So I believe with all these things, ensure that you prove beyond reasonable doubt that one, you have the finances and the finances are credible. Two, that you have reasons to come back to your country. It could be your family that you're leaving behind. Show that you have this family. Show that you have kids. Show that you're married. Present marriage certificates if it's possible. Scan and add a copy of it to your application. If it's a business you have, show the business registration. Scan and present a copy where it's showing that, oh, you have this business or you're the director of this business, however the case may be. So in all of this, ensure you prove and keep proving yourself. The first thing I usually advise is that you apply for your GCSM notes. right? In that note, you would understand why you were not approved. You see critical thinking patterns that the person who reviewed your application had. You understand? Usually, if you get a refusal, the mail or the letter you get is not detailed. You could just see some statement, but you will really not see the critical reason. So apply for that, and then you can now understand what really happened. Then you can now write a letter of explanation, tackling those reasons, showing more, clarifying on those doubts that whoever reviewed your statement or your application had, and then you would naturally get a better result, right? And of course, if you obey the other our rules that we reviewed in this video concerning writing your visa SOP, you naturally should get a good outcome. So at the end of the day, it is very, very important that you, at all costs, whatever you do, you show you get. It's very important. Proof of funds and home ties is very important for Canada visa application. So ensure that you show it. You're not only writing it in your statement, you're not only writing things in your statement, you're proving it, you're providing documents to prove these things. And this is how you naturally get a better result with your Canada visa application. Just as promised, a this is the outline for a normal Canada Visa SOP, right? As I hinted before, the SOP follows a kind of pattern, and you just have to ensure that whatever you do, you address each of these areas in one way or the other throughout your writing, right? So usually follows an introduction, and after the introduction, you want to talk about your background, both study and academic, study and career wise. And from then, you need to move over to the reason why you want to study the particular course, right? So, what is motivating you? Is it career related? Is it what exactly is your motivation? Because advanced studies are usually expensive, so you want to critically show how going for this course and spending the amount of money you spend is going to impact your life positively, right? So from the motivation, you talk about why you picked the school, what are the unique things that made you pick the school. When you're done discussing the unique things that made you pick the school, it could be the environment, it could be the history of the school, it could be the quality of study there, it could be the opportunities for students who graduate from that school, it could be the alumni strength, it could be the caliber of lecturers in the school. Whatever is the reason for you picking that school, you want to talk about them. Then the next thing you want to talk about is why you picked the country. So, for instance, you're going to Canada. Why did you pick Canada? Specifically, you could even narrow it down to the particular region you're going to. Why did you pick that region to go and study? Is it the Alberta region? Whatever region you're going to study, you could also find a way to carve it in. You could even talk about the particular city. What exactly is the city known for? Tech related services, and studying a tech related course in that place will give you opportunity for post student work experience that would make you better off when you are done with all your programs, whatever it is. You want to also talk about it. All this is in a bid to convince the officer that you know what you're doing, and the whole process is going to impact positively in your career. When you're done talking about why you picked the school and the country, now you want to address your finances. So you've told them, this is why I picked this school, this is why I picked your country. Now see how I have prepared myself financially to go through this. You want to state how much you have available for the study. You want to also state if they are pending amount, how do you plan on raising the amount, or how would you get the amount by the time you're there? If you're running a 2 years program, it's usually advisable that at least your 1 year should be covered. Your 1 year should be covered, right? If it's a 1 year program, show that you're ready. Have your, I think, as at the time of making this video, a single person, a single adult who wants to study in Canada should have at least 10,000 card, right? Canadian dollar. So you should have at least that for your upkeep. You get that is aside your school fees. So you want to add all this together and show that you've done your homework, money is ready, and then it boils down again to showing that this money is actually yours. And where if it's someone that is sponsoring you, the person also has to show that they have this money, and they are not under any pressure. They're sponsoring you willingly. After talking about your finances, you now want to talk about your home ties. This part is usually important because they want to be sure that when you're done with your study, you're going back to your country. Even though you have plans of staying back, still tell them that you plan on coming back and give them reasons why. It could be your family, it could be your children, it could be whatever reason that will make you convince them, that will help you convince them, do that. Then you want to also talk about your future plans. What is your future? What is your plan with this degree? What do you plan to do with the degree at the end of the day? What would obtaining that degree help you achieve in your career at the end of the day? You want to talk about it, then you can close. So these things, the way it's outlined, if you follow it systematically, it gives for a good read. But however pattern you try to follow in your own, ensure that at the end of the day you address all these things in your statement, right? So the next thing we're going to talk about is we're going to review a sample SOP that got approved. So that will be the next thing we're going to be looking at in the next slide. So here is a sample SOP that got approved, that got visa approval. It's for one of our guests who we've spoken with too. She offered to give us this to use for education purpose. Ensure not to copy it, just use it as a guide when writing yours. Okay. Now, I put this heading, so you don't necessarily have to put that in yours. This is her salutation, right? Sorry, this is the address now, and then this is the salutation, and then this is the title of the letter, study permit application. Here she wrote her name, which I have removed, and some other personal information I've removed. You could add your passport number. Some people say it's not necessary since you're already submitting your passport. Well, whatever works for you. For this client, she did add her own, and it wasn't an issue. Now, this first paragraph is the introduction. As you can see, it is straight to the point, right? Thank you for taking the time to read this letter. My name is, she inserted her name, and I am applying for a student visa to study. What she wrote, what she's going to study, and the place she's going to study it, right? I have been given an offer letter by the Humber College Admission Committee to be among the next class for a certificate program in web design and development starting on the 6th of September 2022. She also added when her program is going to start. In another situation, she could have also included when this program would end, right? So the officer reviewing knows, oh, this person will be here for the period of this time to this time. Or she could have also stated that I have been given an offer letter by the to be among the next class for a 1 year certificate program. Then they know this program is 1 year, or a 2 years certificate program. So they know this program is for 2 years. So those are the different ways you can approach your introduction. Hence, I am applying to the Canadian government to grant me a study visa to proceed with my application plans. I guess this covers it. So after that introduction, which was straight to the point, she now went ahead to like give a bit more information about why she wants to study this course. So currently in the IT industry is one of the fastest growing in Nigeria, which is a country. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, the sector contributed this is second. So with the growing demand in the IT industry in Nigeria, I decided to start my career in the IT sector. Therefore, shortly after graduating with a BSc in business admin, I took up a digital marketing internship as Kong Marketing Agency, where I spent 4 months learning the basics of digital marketing. Then I was employed as digital marketer, marketing analyst, and man support services. I've always had a passion for IT design and development, and this is why I decided to study web design and development at Humber College, as it is the next step towards achieving my career goals. So, as you can see from here, she talked about her motivation. What is motivating her to study? Number one is the opportunities in the tech space in her country. Number two, she has already started training herself in tech related skills, and this will just make her better and make her better suited for opportunities. She also stated lightly that, oh, I've studied this course, right? This is what I've already, look at what I have in my first degree. So it all makes sense, right? And it's straight to the point. And this contrary to people who want a very bulky, you can make it simple, suffice, reasonable, and it makes sense. You would get a good feedback. So, in more, she talks about her career here. While working, I also started to develop my skills. You get, so she talks about how she has done a bit. She even added proof to show that, oh, I'm not just bluffing. When I say I've been working in tech space, okay, here, look at my portfolio. You can look at it, and if you click on that portfolio, when I removed her name anyway now. So if not, you would have checked her portfolio. She has quite a lot. So if somebody is reviewing this, even if it's in a PDF, this would be a clickable link and they could see what her portfolio looks like. So in this place, she tells more details about her preparation for this particular program, right? Now, in this next paragraph, she talks about how she came about picking the school and the country. These two paragraphs, she talked about how she picked the school and the country. So you can see it, and you can see why pursuing an online course on web development at Udemy. I began to look for certificate programs that would give me an edge in software engineering career, and I came across the Humber College Web Design and Development program. So this was how she came across the school, and she wrote a bit more about it. Then here she talked about how she picked, or why she picked the country. Going to confirm the thing I told you at the end of the day. So here she talked about further what this program will help her achieve. So in the previous slide when I explained the outline, I told you they might not follow. However it is, however whatever sequence you use, at the end of the day, just cover those things you get. And here is where she's talking about what this program will add for her. I think in my outline, I added this as the last, like, future plans after studying. But here she talked about her future plans after studying. Here she talked about her preparedness, but she did it in a different way. She said, I have paid the first installment of the tuition and a copy of my payment receipt, sorry, is attached to my application, right? So she has paid, she added receipt to show proof. And that is outside the proof of funds she showed you get. So if you also care, you can put in those details here. How much, when you say you've paid, how much exactly did you pay? How much is spending? How do you plan on getting that remaining fund? You can state all that in this session, right? And then after that, you have the closing paragraph, which you can see, and then here. So I think with this, you get an idea, and you get to understand the outline I shared before. When you look at the outline and you look at this, and this actually got her visa, and she's studying today in Toronto, Canada. You get, she had a session with us where she talked about life in Canada for foreigners. You get, you might do well to check out that video too on this channel. We also talked about some of the frequently asked questions about visa SOP, which you can also check out. So as you can see, we've done justice to this. When you look at this, you look at the outline. You can also visit our website www.thefastire.org, where you can see more samples of both study and visa SOP to help guide you to write better SOPs, right? So that is all I have to share for you today. So I hope you go through the sample we've reviewed and every other thing we talk about, and do well to apply them. If you do have questions, we're always open to answer you as best as we can. You can also visit our website www.thefastire.org, where we have so many samples you could go through to learn how to compose this. We have samples for study and visa purposes, so you can go through it. You can go through other videos on this channel that talks about Canada study application and the rest. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for listening. Do well to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and do like and do share our channel, share this video, so that you can encourage us to keep doing more. If you have questions, let us know. We will do well to answer you. Thank you so much, guys. Cheers and enjoy the rest of your day.